Today is August 19th, 2021, and I'm here with World War II veteran Robert Johnson. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where'd you start training at? Were you enlisted or drafted?
Drafted straight out of school.
How old were you when you were
20.
20. Where did you start training at?
Camp Carter, Missouri.
How long did you do the training?
14 weeks.
Okay. When did you go into training? Like what year?
1943.
Okay.
Straight out of high school.
Okay. Did you do any other training after that?
No.
Okay. What did you take a ship to? What?
No, we took a train from Chicago to Camp Carter, Missouri.
How long of a train ride was that?
About 4 hours.
Okay. But when you were done with your training, where how did you get overseas?
How did I get overseas? Our colonel volunteered to take us over there.
Did you take a transport ship?
We had a transport ship, a Scythian, British, a British plane, transport ship.
How long did it take to get to overseas on the ship?
Let's see, we boarded about 12 days.
Was the sea rough?
We had a typhoon the second day out. Tore us apart. But we managed to make it.
Did you get seasick at all?
No.
Okay.
Stay on the floor of the road ship.
Where'd you arrive when you got overseas? Like first place you?
Our first ship was in the harbor of Cherbourg in France, but we waited ashore because of the damage done to the ship.
How many days did you, or how many days after D-Day did you land on one of the beaches? Because you said you landed in Cherbourg, or?
I landed outside of Cherbourg. Then we drove down to the apple orchards in trucks, convoyed.
Okay.
We stayed down there for a month.
Do you know what infantry division you were part of?
I was no infantry. I was Signal Corps.
What was the
Special Troops.
What's the number of your Special Corps unit?
303rd Signal Operation Battalion.
Okay.
Company B.
Okay, what was your first task when you got overseas to France?
Our first job?
Yes.
Police in the area already left out. The first guys that left out first. We stayed over there for a month and a half in the apple orchard. From there we went to Rouen, France, and we got into some of the damnedest things you ever seen in your life. We had we was quartered in Henry S. Ford automobile plant, which the roof was not even damaged. Wasn't even damaged. We stayed there, and we had a little stove. We kept a fire, kept it warm. It was at least it was dry. And while we were stationed there, we were there 2 months. Well, out of the 2 months, they volunteered us to do any kind of work you want to do, you know, right around the area.
Were you were you a private when you got overseas, or were you a
PFC?
Private first class. Okay.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in France?
11 months. 11 months right on. But from there, when we were in France, we unloaded 2 barges, 2 ships. There's nobody else would unload them because it's live ammunition. And this little guy that run the crane for us, his daddy was shot 10 days before that. So the little boy said he could run it, his daddy. He was 17 years old. And we unloaded them 2 ships in record time. We had a guy down the stairs that was hooking them on, and guys upstairs unhooking them. And we pick them up, roll them up in the hole, and pick them up. And
Is that Maria? Is that Maria you're talking about?
No.
Oh, okay.
This was in Rouen, France.
Oh, okay.
And we unloaded him in record time, and he couldn't believe it. And we took up a collection amongst ourselves to pay the little guy because he wasn't getting paid nothing. The Germans wouldn't pay him, or Frenchmen wouldn't pay him. So he said, we need to go. And we got $105 for out of our platoon. And we give it to him, he cried.
He backs up.
Yeah.
From
Okay.
there, we went to Bad Newnheim, Germany. No. Walsall, Belgium. We went to a little town in Walsall, Belgium, right on the river, Meuse River. And we stayed there for another 3 months. And we worked out of Dinant. The Battle of Walls, we set up Army headquarters right there in Dinant in the rocks. And good location for our headquarters because you know I had 1 bridge to protect and 1 roll of rock clear out in the river. And we stayed there for until the war was over.
What kind of weapon did you carry with you?
I carried, I was a car, an artisan.
If you have a car in
I
the
don't know if
parking
you know
lot,
an artisan.
please move it.
Say that again?
Artisan.
Please move your car that is in the
Artisan
parking
is
lot.
a jack of
Thank
all
you.
trades. A jack of all trades. And if he wanted to cook, I went. If he needed somebody to dig off, I'd go. And our company commander was pretty lean on how different things I used to do. And I spent 6 hours with General Patton sitting on the riverbank, and he's sitting in a chair, and he was counting armored vehicles of all kinds, and mostly tanks across the river. He'd bring three tanks across, 1 back, 2 back, 3 across, till he got 41 tanks across that river. And he didn't even move from the bank all the time he was there.
To confuse the enemy.
We'd offer him coffee. No, sir, I don't drink your coffee now. He wouldn't drink no coffee. So when the ships are all, when the tanks are all across the river, General Patton stood up and he says, Corporal, I'll have that cup of coffee now. So I started to take his cup and he pulled his cup away from him as if to say, no. I took the lid off, he dipped his own coffee down. He got a cup of coffee and drank a coffee, and the one that didn't want it, he threw it on the ground. And he says to me, Corporal, you can have that cup. And I brought that cup home with me and sold it for $25.
We had it until we lived here, till we moved here. Our neighbor, her and her husband saw Patton for the first time after they were married, and she wanted that cup. So he finally decided he would sell it to her. And I wrote out when he got it and how he got it and everything, so that made it worth more money.
And when we finished up getting the tanks across the river, he says to me, Corporal, and I had sergeants with me and everything else, but I always referred to the corporal. He said, since we got all these tanks across there, did I have a midnight mass over there? I was, yeah, for Christmas Eve. He said, we'll take in that. So my company commander said, oh, we want to get them back to the bed, you know, 7 miles down the river. He says, we'll get them there, we'll get them there, we'll get them there. So we went to the mass. And mass was about 45 minutes long. And we left there, we went from there. He seen we got a transportation to Bad Neunheim, Germany. I mean, the little town. While I was stationed in Dinant, I went to a wedding over there with one of the friends I pal around with. He had 4 daughters and a son. And the 4 daughters, I couldn't understand nothing. We got into it one time with a coffee pot and a teapot and different things. And we'll get the priest. We will get the priest. I said, what are you talking about? Oh, she won't know if you make coffee in this pot here, in this pot there. I don't know whether that's the way that we did it. But
Now Maria was from where? She was from
Namur,
Namur.
Belgium.
Namur,
There was
Belgium.
a little
yeah.
girl lived in this home there, this place. She's from Belgium. She's from Normandy, Belgium. She was 7.5 years old when they were during the war, and they were right on the border of Namur and Belgium and Denmark. So she remembers her wading mud and water down the ditch, and with her dress tail high over her head, and her shoes and panties were on, and she walked for a block in that sludge to get to school. And when you get to school, they did the girls here and the boys there, you know, separate them in a hurry.
Maria done that?
What?
Maria done that?
Yeah.
Maria lives here.
Really?
Yes, she does.
She's in the
Memory care.
memory care.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty.
She was 7.5 years old,
Yeah.
but she remembered that.
When they marched into her village, she remembers.
Wow.
Yeah. That's ironic.
When did you?
During the Battle of Algiers, when we were stationed in Dinant, we were told we either hold it or die. You hold this position here, or we'll give up and die. So we stayed with her most of the time, up on the top where you could see the Germans. And the Germans coming out with the tanks, you know, their tanks. Well, what we did was loaded 3 cans with water and put a little bit of gas in it so it comes at the top. And we set them in so that likely it was hiding. Here comes the Germans. And they didn't even look, and then grab them cans, dump them in there, right, go about 20 feet. That's the first deal. Then we 3 guys, 1 guy. Prisoners of war, we take it was the Burgermeister. Burgermeister told us, don't bring any more here. We got no room. I said, what do you want me to do with them? We got 3 coming up here. He said, well, we'll take them 3, but don't bring no more. So we didn't bring no more. We had a lot of fun out of it. Guys say, what's this? They didn't even look, nothing. They grabbed them, can dump them, you know. First thing you know, stop.
When did you get into Germany?
When did I get to Germany?
Yes.
The day that I surrendered,
So that was in the May of 45.
1945. But in the time I was leading on, we moved forward. They cleaned the area up. You had to make sure, last man out, make sure you got a cigarette butt, glass of water, and all was cleaned up. All cleaned up. Well, I moved up as far as Erskirch in Germany. My company commander had another job for me. I said, well, what's this time? You know, cook for 20 men. I said, 20 men? You get Class A rations, 20 men. You'll be in one house, you'll be in a switchboard, in the house there, and there you'll be stationed. The boys are sleeping next door, next to the house over. So we went to work. I had two girls, one Belgian, one French girl. She was 27 years old. She was no
Housekeeping.
at all. She could keep house. She knew what the dishes were. And we had another girl, 18 years old. She was kind of shy, you know. But she done her work. She done her work. And my company commander says to me, Corporal, he said, you run into any trouble with any of these men, no matter what rank they have, if you find out they're in trouble, you let me know and I will come and get them. Well, right along 6-7 weeks, and one guy thinks he's going to sleep upstairs. I told him, you can't sleep here. Oh yeah, next thing I know, Chapman's upstairs sleeping. Maria's in there washing ceiling. Oh, what the hell are you doing? Me wash ceilings. Why? Because you GI is sleeping in my bed. I said, oh no, he don't. She said, yes he is. So I went ahead for Heather first. She went follow me. Harold, what are you doing here? Oh, okay, she can nap. That's all I do there. Say, tomorrow morning you have everything ready, you're in your way back.
You were in charge of how many men? You were in charge of how many men?
22.
22.
There's no questions asked, no nothing. They took the word of the girl, he's sleeping in my bed. That's all I want to hear you say. Come on, Chapman, you're going back to the company. He already replacement, and he said, now listen, that man is in charge of you guys. You're over here to sort out lines, see which ones go where. And if you don't touch two wires together like that, because it'll blow apart. You take a ring, a bell, ding, ding, ding. Oh yeah, here this guy got ding, ding, to wire them together. Can you give me a message? Yep. To the Aachen, Germany, you know, to Liège, Belgium, you know, different. And it took us.
He was the telephone operator.
It took us 28 days, or it wasn't 30 days. It wasn't 30 days we done it, in less than 30 days, and we were given 2 months to do it in. But we worked around the clock, and the guy that come out at midnight, work until 8 o'clock in the morning, go to bed upstairs, come back down, eat, whatever they want, go to work, and we had it done in less time than they told us. So we had a good neighborhood. A guy, farmer, put hay together in a haystack. We was man jump on that thing and tear it apart and sleep on it and tear it up. And the same way with straw. He'd be have a nice straw pile. You guys want to have fun? Go ahead. Yeah.
Now, where were you at when you were marching and you come upon these boys, the German boys?
We're northeast of Dinant. We're about a mile north of them, and they were boys with their head.
They were waving a white flag. They thought their commanding, the officer in charge said, "We take no visitors." They started crying, thought they were going to be shot.
Wow.
They were young German boys, 14 and 15 years old, soldiers.
And one kid said to me, he says, "I'm forward from Denmark, officers." And I give him a compass, little bitty compass. I said, "Straight north, don't turn around. You want to go to Denmark? You go now." 3 of them went for Denmark. And we let him go. He wanted to go that way. They had to go to Denmark. From Denmark, they go to England and the United States. It's a long way from home, but they were Germans. And they give up their German rights. Just to be.
And these young boys hadn't eaten for 3 days.
Wow.
So the officer in charge said, "Take these boys to the, what is it called? The Burgermeister, and feed them."
Wow. Did you ever come up on any prisoner of war camps?
Oh yeah.
What were they like?
Behind barbed wire.
Well,
You couldn't get to them.
Were they also concentration camps?
They were in Auschwitz. Yeah, they were there. But the ones that we had was prisoners of war. Field after field of dig a hole, make poop, cover it in. You know. And I got pictures of a guy squatting down, making poop.
When did you get home from the war?
Yesterday.
What day?
August the 18th, 1946.
Oh, okay.
The first ship in the harbor after they dropped the second atomic bomb. We were 2 days out of Rock of Gibraltar when they dropped the first atomic bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says they got 3 of them loaded. They're going to drop 2 on this trip. And if they don't give up then, we'll drop the 3rd one right down the chimney of the Japanese command post. And I believe he could have done it. He was that
I'm
active.
sorry to interrupt.
They dropped.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Hold on. I'm so sorry.
No, it's not right.
Is your car out there?
Which one is it?
I don't know.
The
Did you
gray?
park out
Is
front?
it a gray SUV?
Did you park out front?
And one of the handicaps? Yeah, my grandma did.
Oh, your grandma did?
Yeah.
Is she still, did she drive you?
Yeah.
Is she still out there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then she probably moved already. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
What was your? Were you,
46. I arrived in New York City on August 18th, about 11 o'clock in the morning, and had everything off of Pier 88, which was the largest pier in New York for the Queen Mary to dock. So we docked at that place, and we were given orders, take your numbers down and stay where you're at. So I had 156, Ford had 170, 157, I don't remember who had 154. Anyway, I had 4 in a row. and you got off the plank 2 at a time. And I come down off the plank and weighed 120, 121, 122 pounds, and I had 400 pounds of lead on me. So I had quite a load. And then we loaded that up and we put it on the pier. And my number was on there, 2 locks on my duffel bag. And I thought to myself, well, goodbye, all my souvenirs, all wrapped and everything, but I thought they'd give them goodbye.
Were you told you were going to Japan, like your unit?
What?
Was your unit told you were going to Japan?
We were headed for Japan during the war was over in Germany. We went to Nice, France, and we down there, we had sandstorms, tornadoes, you name it. We had every kind of a storm you can think of. I had a full, sorry, he's in major currents, done with clothes on. I said, Major, give us a hand, get that rope. I'm not dressed. I don't care if we're dressed or not. Get a rope and hang on to it. So he listened to me, and I told him to get a hold of that rope and stay on it. And I said, it only lasts about 5 minutes. How do you know that?
Take it easy, take it easy.
In 5 minutes, no sand. No, but it's sand on the inside the tent. It's horrible.
This ship that he was talking about that pulled into New York Harbor, it's the very famous one that was showed a sheet the nurses made out of a sheet when they got in. And what did it say on it?
333 Operation Battalion.
Where were you when Pearl Harbor was attacked?
In high school.
What did you think of it?
That was sometime Monday morning. We was all ready to go to church. Well, we got the news, you know. We were poor people. We didn't have radios or nothing like that. You had to depend on your neighbor, you know.
I don't think I have any more questions for you. Do you have any like stories, like from the war that are funny, or
You were on a story?
a funny story? Yeah, if you have any.
Nothing funny about it. But we finally got on, after marching up down one of the street there in New York City, was this, well, this is over, just an hour ago, walked that way. The guy says, yeah, you know why you're walking? Because we ain't got ships to bring you across to Camp Kilmer. I said, oh yeah? So, but it happened before dark. Sure enough, the ships, everything was docked at Pier 88, put us on board, and I thought to myself, where's my bags? There ain't a thing in the dock, not a bag on the bottom. We got to Camp Kilmer, bridge wheel, there's my duffel bag, 157, 158, 59, all lined up. Now you got it lined up the same way you got off the ship, okay? So you marched, halt, there stood my buggy. We went from there to Camp Kilmer. Oh, we got to Camp Kilmer about 8 o'clock at night, and he says, nothing to drink except 1 pint of milk. 1 pint of milk is all you can have. Okay. So I drank my milk. Now I said, let's go to bed. So the bed next morning they get us up, start to telling us, now you gotta listen, you gotta know what you're doing, and you're 28, 29. Okay, E, section E. I don't know what the hell is it, all coding, you know. But that was the name of the ship, train we get on, and where destination, and this and that. Take us to Camp Comer, right to the door. And stop. So many guys get off.
Now, where were you when you had these screaming memes go over your head? You were out by which beach? Omaha?
Omaha.
Omaha Beach. Yeah.
Did the sound scare you of the screaming memes?
Did they scare you?
We had radios that you could plug in and listen to anything that was going on in Japan. Or you could plug it in another place, you could hear anything in Germany. But don't let nobody catch you moving them. Or you're off the thing. We had one guy on one guy on that port of the 6 men, 4 of us sitting here at the table. One guy over here, he's guy on the other end, he's doing the same thing. They're American Indians from Idaho,
Known as the Wind Walkers.
Yeah, I know they are.
They're from
Yeah, they spoke,
Minnesota.
they spoke in their own language and nobody could break it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing they couldn't break. Germans couldn't understand it.
Where did you see your first German enemy, or when did you encounter the Germans, like your first time?
In Belgium, the flats upstairs, found little bitty towns near the Germans. I never heard. I had to carry a loaded gun, one on the side, one on my shoulder. Never fired one. Never fired once. I carried it over there and carried it back. Same way the gas mask. Carried the gas mask over there in Germany and back. Never had it on. You know.
Did you ever hear the V1 rockets or the buzz bombs?
No, I think buzz bombs. Buzz bombs, you know what they're using it for?
Yeah,
They're right on the ground, 18 feet above the ground. Buzz bomb, and they tell you, don't go to Antwerp tonight. The Germans are gonna put a bomb right in the front door. And so help me God. 6 o'clock at night, there she is, the big bomb right in the front door. They could they had it lined up. If they could have got to the Antwerp, they'd had their positions. Oh, they did bombed hell out of England with the V2s, but they had already never got the chance to use them.
Interesting.
And the American Airlines, every year they go around to different airports. They take the World War II veterans up in their biplane.
Yeah, that's how I met him.
Yeah, and he was, yeah.
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 Was it a good flight? That's good.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I think that is all for the interview. Thank you, Robert, for doing this and taking the time.